You crossing animals, that's the name of the lucky girl who's gonna get all Arky's attention for this vid. Let's make this a multi-parter, cause I got a lot of shit I wanna talk about here. Quest 1. Mr. or Mrs. Mayor, I forgot, they send your dead ass out to help small mechanic girl cause nobody else's asses can do it. I like how when you get there, she immediately asks if you're here cause your vibrator broke. It fleshes out what she actually does for folks around, because, you know, she's been fixing so many vibes, she just assumes that's why randos go to her. It also tells us a bit about the town, what kind of tech peeps actually use around here, and it comes out so natural. It's just a nice way to slip in some world building. The mechanic girl talks about this data collection thing, but I'm not super fond of this because I feel it's all a bit too fluffy. Like, whenever we get some kind of tech talk, I feel like either really set me into what's going on or just leave it out entirely. The mech girl has a robot she wants you to fuck, which supposedly gives her data, and you can do this every day and she pays you for it every time. And in the dialogue here, we could explain what's going on, but she just sort of throws the word data around a lot while we never really figure out how she can repeatedly gather useful information from the same one person fucking the same one robot in the same position every day. And like, why isn't she just doing it herself? It'd be one thing if the mayor was paying you to help her and she just has you fuck the robot to test out new iterations because she likes to watch, but she's paying you out of her own pocket to do this every day, so there has to be some sort of benefit from this. I feel like it wouldn't be that difficult to make up something like, maybe if she was a guy instead, then she or he could only gather male data TM from fucking it, and since no one else's dead ass wanted to touch his shit after he deep fried someone's asshole or whatever happened in earlier mentioned unspecified incident, then he would need you to provide female data. And then you'd have to keep coming back after every new iteration, because adjustments, new stuff need new testing. It's something at least. It just fucks with me when you do stuff like go out of your way to explain that the machine is, quote, self-learning, auto-adjusting, and then 2 lines later say that she is manually gonna use the data TM to adjust it. Another thing, it feels a bit like there's a disconnect between her aesthetic and her dialogue. Like, she looks super mechanical, right? Like with screws and wrenches and overalls and shit, right? But most of her dialogue makes it sound far more electrical than mechanical. I mean, sure, she can be both, I guess, but it's just not communicated through her visual design at all. Like, even the sound effects when you enter the thingy and the bot design and stuff, and then her dialogue is like, ook ook, data power connection, electrodes. You get what I mean, right? Design-wise, not just the mecha girl, but many of the characters actually, I thought they had way too much stuff going on. I actually really want to hear other people's take on this, because I feel like some people would really like these designs. I'm gonna explain why I think this is too cluttered in a sec, but as always, give me a comment if you think differently. This is art, not a science. Whatever you think and feel is totally valid. I feel like the more shit you add to your character, the less shit is gonna stand out. So, look at this for example. Green stands out super much. It's so hard not to notice the green, because he's barely got any other colors on him. Meanwhile, look at this. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to just look at this. Good? Okay, now I have a funny little experiment. Was this character wearing clothes? And if so, how much? And what clothes? I'm willing to bet that a lot of people won't be able to tell, because there's so much stuff going on that I, at least, can barely tell what's going on before I've been staring at this for like 500,000 years. In fact, I played this whole game, and it was only after I started writing this video that I noticed this chair, even though it takes up almost like a fucking 1/6 of the screen. My point is that there's so much visual noise going on that, and like, if there's one highlight, there's one highlight. If there's 10 highlights, there's no highlights. And if there's this many highlights, I can't tell if your character's wearing clothes. Now, with Mecha Girl, I feel it's better here, but there's still so much stuff going on. She has like a green blush with a mini cow udder on her cheek. Up here there's messy blondish hair. This part is weirdly empty, almost like it's shaved. There's black tufts here on her ears, which are a different shade of brown. She's also wearing a bow with dots, and half of everything doesn't even match her dialogue sprite. There's some cool details in here, like the screw earring, and I think a really short overalls plus t-shirt combo. I think it looks really cute, but a lot of her design just gets lost in the ocean of too many stuffs. Here's another character who reminds me a lot of Mecha Girl. I'm specifically pulling up this boy because I think he's a really good example of character design in the way that I like it. He's this goofy ass all-in-one science dude who seems to handle about everything in his organization when it comes to tech. But unlike Mech Girl, who looks far more mechy than techy, you can actually see the mix in this boy's design. He's wearing a lab coat and big dorky glasses, which makes him look real computer nerdy-ish. But he's also wearing overalls and he carries a big wrench, which gives him that touch of mechanic-y stuffs. I don't think I've ever seen lab coat plus overalls done before, but it's such a simple character design way to express this all-around engineer thingy. He's also wearing socks and sandals, which is generally seen as super unstylish, which is perfect for such a dark character, but it also actually fits in with his profession. If you're in a lab or a workshop, that might seem like, you know, indoor spaces, which would make it seem like wearing shoes is unnecessary. But in a lab there's a shit ton of glassware and chemicals, some of which might be accidentally dropped on the floor, and in a workshop there's a ton of sharp metal bits like bolts and nails and screws and shit, which can get dropped on the ground. So wearing shoes in these places actually makes a ton of sense. And these sandals are even like a pretty Japanese style of sandals, which also communicates some nationality. A small thing, but it's still cool. Glasses in general can also communicate nerdiness, especially when it's these big round dorky glasses. And what's also cool is that you can't see through them. Since eyes are a gateway drug to the soul, hiding a character's eyes away with glasses can make them seem mysterious and distant, which can both be good in character design for mysterious and secretive characters, but also obsessive characters who live a bit in their own world. Then there's the hair, which is in this page style, which that almost looks like his mom caught his hair or something. But one of the really key things that I think really completes this design is that his hair is pink, which he's a bit of a dork, and his design communicates that, but he's not like this completely sterile elf from Death Note-ish human computer. He's also got a bit of flair, a bit of attitude, and this pink hair that is so ridiculous that it almost goes full circle and almost looks stylish. I think that captures this perfectly, especially because his hair is so noticeable. It pops because there's no other super flashy colors on this guy, and this being the design-wise representation of his attitude, which is also super loud and wacky, it just fits so well. Every part of his design serves to communicate a specific something about this dude, and there's nothing else in there to take the attention away from all these elements which actually tell us something. This is what I think good character design is. Then there's a minigame thingy, and I don't think that works out super well. I think porn and games has some synergy potential, and I've seen it done neatly before, but in this case, it feels like the gamification and the porn clashes more than they work together. The best way to play this game, as far as I've found, is to just focus on the meters down here, and since there's a time limit to this, you can't really stop at any point to whip your dick out because you gotta rush to get this shit done. And this is what I mean. If you focus on the game, you miss all the porn. And if you enjoy the porn, then you lose the game. And I think that sucks a bit of ass. If porn games features minigames, or if the core gameplay is one of these competitive-ish, finish a task fast or do it really well, then the porn and the gameplay is usually separated. because then you can pour all your effort into doing the game bit, and then you can enjoy the porn as like a reward afterwards. Monster Mind is a good example of this. You play puzzles in sets of 3, you have a Pokemon who keeps you company and talks with you in between puzzles to give you a little bit of a break, and after every successful puzzle, they strip some clothes off, which entices you to the big reward of doing fuck with them after completing all the 3 puzzles. Here, you can see the gameplay and the porn works together. They're separated into little segments, but they work together to make a full experience. Another and maybe even better example, Naked Order. This is a game that's also really good at making porn and gameplay work together. And I know this is hentai, not Yiff, but it's a really good example of this. You play as a girl who runs around a town naked, doing various tasks for money which get recorded on hidden cams. And you obviously don't want to get caught, because that means bad stuff. But the interesting thing here is that this game is about exhibitionism, and that gets incorporated directly into the gameplay. You're nervous in the gameplay for gameplay reasons because you don't want to get caught and lose, but this directly synergizes with the exhibitionism kink, where you get all shaky and nervousy because you're doing something real risky and you don't want to get caught by fucking other people. The gameplay actually makes you feel like you're running around naked and you don't want to get caught, which is this thrill mindset that works with the kink. And there's these reflection items scattered around town which lets you hear the current dirty thoughts of the main character, and you want to pick these up for porn reasons because it's fucking hot. And they also make sure you don't lose your boner while running around and being nervous and shit. But you also want to pick these up for gameplay reasons, because you can't pause the game. So these thought moments let you get a little break where you don't have to nervously scan around everywhere to see if anybody's coming your way. And that means that since these provide like a little bit of a pause, you can also fully enjoy these naughty moments and focus on the horny shit while reading this, because the gameplay gets paused while doing it. The game is designed so well! Do you see where we're going? The gameplay and the porn is holding hands and doing a big sloppy open mouth kiss so we can combine their strengths and enjoy a synergy between them. While here in You Animal Thing, the porn and the gameplay just clashes in this way where if you focus on one, then you lose out on the other, and this is what I don't like. Alright, that was my critique point on the critique I had on the first questy thing. I hope your brain cells started multiplying, and remember, if you disagree with my shit, or if you just have anything you want to add, I love to read y'all's take on this game. So, goodbye, eat your vegetables!